You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, and today a Baxter Springs, Kansas home invasion suspect recovers in the hospital after he was shot by the resident.
To start, and now we're going to be talking about record-breaking temperatures. Hard to believe that we're opening December and looking at 60s and 70s. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, Christmas tree. Christmas trees are loved, but we'll see one that'll may leave you with some rather mixed feelings. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Chris Warner. We begin with today's local stories. A Baxter Springs, Kansas home invasion suspect is recovering in the hospital after he was shot by the resident. The shooting happened last night. Baxter Springs Police Department got a call just before 9 about a person breaking into a house. On the way to that call, they learned that someone at that location had been shot. Police say the suspect, Sean Talent Jr., allegedly broke into the home, assaulted the residents, and was shot once in the thigh and again in the calf. Talent is charged with aggravated burglary, aggravated assault, and criminal damage to property. No one else has been charged. A report by Kansas nonprofit shows rural Kansas school districts experienced the greatest decline in early reading levels from 2019 to 2021 compared to other Kansas districts. This comes from public data showing rural school districts suffered more learning losses following pandemic-related school closures. Some area districts fared pretty well, but the Columbus School District says it's seen this learning gap firsthand and says a lack of funding plays a big part.
Larger cities and things, so we were able with ESSER money to get caught up with some of the things that we fall behind in because we don't have the funding maybe you see in larger settings.
The Columbus superintendent says they're now using federal pandemic funding to introduce new programs for students who may have fallen behind. It was such a hit last year, the Job Parks and Rec Department is doing it again. What is it they're doing again? The Holiday Tree Trail, and that's a series of decorated trees from area businesses and organizations placed along a portion of the trail at Mercy Park. City lit the trees last night at a special event that included performances by Karen's Dance Studio, hot cocoa, cookies, and even a visit by Santa.
I love all of the trees. These businesses and organizations have worked so hard to get these trees out here and decorated, and they've just done a fantastic job in helping us make this event happen.
Guests who walk the trail can vote for their favorite tree through December 22nd, when the winners will receive prizes. Trees will be on display through the end of the month. Something you can help decorate: the pantries, some of our local food pantries. This Giving Tuesday, which was yesterday, don't forget us, and don't forget us at any time. Fox 14's 18th annual Feed the 4 States Food Drive. We're collecting non-perishable food items at Westco Home Furnishings stores in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Also, Phelan Dermatology and Tropical Tan in Joplin. Donations will help stock the shelves of area food pantries like Crosslines and Wesley House during this season of high demand. You can also give online, KOAMnewsnow.com/feed. Food drive will continue until December 31st. Monetary donations can be stretched to provide 4 meals per dollar. So please give what you can, and we thank you. Thanksgiving may be in the rear view, but if you have leftover pumpkin pie or any other kind of pie, Wednesday is the perfect day to devour it. You know why? Because it's National Pumpkin, or it's not just Pumpkin Pie Day, it's National Pie Day. Any pie. And to make that National Pie Day Part 2, the pie celebration on December 1st is the second observance of the year. Many national holidays get 2. According to NationalDayCalendar.com, the more popular National Pie Day is on January 23rd. Bake it up, slice it up, gobble it up, whether it's blueberry, sweet potato, pumpkin, or pecan, any way you slice it, that's the way you like it, and it's a nice way to get through a hump day.
Do we know why there's 2 National Pie Days?
That's a silly question. Why would you not need 2 National Pie Days?
Are we not sure one of them's not International Pie Day?
I don't make up the holidays. I simply celebrate them, and if it's a pie day, I can celebrate, and if there are 2 of them, it's even more excuses to eat more pie.
I've got to get to the bottom of this and find out why there's 2 pies. And your favorite of choice?
pumpkin pie. You know, my mom, though, as a kid, she used to make this Blackberry Cobbler. Oh my goodness, I almost did it. She used to make this Blackberry Cobbler. We used to go out to this place down by Grand Falls when I was a kid, and we would actually pick the blackberries that she would use to make that. All right, it was momentary.
That's cool.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I remember when she'd make that, man, it was so good. But pumpkin pie, my wife's grandmother makes a pumpkin pie that is to die for.
You're a smart man right there.
It is delicious, and I can't get enough of it, and that's pumpkin pie that you can have any time of the year.
Shout out to Grams right there.
Yo, absolutely. She deserves it. She makes a good pumpkin pie.
We'll get to the bottom of why there's two. If you know why there's two National Pie Days, go ahead and express message Chris, and he'll get right back to that. Live look outside of Television City. Transition to our temperatures has been cooler up to the northwest right there. Easy to tell where the dividing line is. Consistently 50s for most of southwest Missouri and portions of northeast Oklahoma. Reason being, it's kind of the wind. We haven't seen a complete shift of it as of yet. Now we're starting to see more so it move in from the southwest/west. Earlier this morning, those cooler temps were moving in due north right there. That's about where that dividing line is. Nice thing is, it's a little bit of a warm up just about for everybody. We got Yates Center and Iowa. Look at Miami and Anderson, 14 degrees warmer than what we had at this point in time yesterday. Another aspect is we're starting to see the clearing of the clouds right there, which is going to bring us sunshine because, quite frankly, there's nothing behind here. We're going to be able to warm up quickly. As a matter of fact, be abnormally warm to begin our 12th month of the year. Our weather trend for this Wednesday, let's go about 65, 66 here later on this afternoon. Very clear skies overnight. As a matter of fact, the wind will actually die down to about 5 miles per hour. And then as we get ready for Thursday, look at that, 70s. That's going to be very, very dry here next several days. Chris and I have been talking about the elevated fire risk that we run into. But oh my goodness, if you can get outside and grab some fresh air, look at that, warm temperature. Almost feels like it should be the beginning of spring and not the beginning of December. Yeah,
get out there and get some fresh air. Just don't light any fires while you're doing it.
There you go.
Because it's a little bit on the dangerous side to do that. No burning, but you can breathe in, enjoy, and relax.
Just wait till next week. You can get all the yard work done.
There you go. You just give it a little more time. And who wants to do the yard work when it's this nice anyway?
Right.
Nobody. That's who.
Exactly.
Michael, thank you. Well, up next, new research takes a closer look at a link between stuttering and the process of initiating speech rather than as a psychological problem. And later, 30 white rhinos resettle in Rwanda's Akagera National Park in hopes of replenishing the struggling species. You're watching KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Welcome back. New findings say HIV rates dropped significantly for white men who are gay or bisexual over the past decade. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports infections fell from 7,500 to 5,100 from 2010 to 2019. During that same time frame, infection rates for black gay males inched downward and rose slightly for Hispanic and Latino men. However, the change for those groups was minimal overall. Researchers say a lack of access to treatment and perhaps the stigma of being gay may play a factor for the men who get infected. A new understanding of what causes some speech problems and a link between allergies and COVID-19. Naomi Ruckham has some of the day's top health stories.
People with allergies such as hay fever and atopic eczema and asthma may have some protection against COVID-19. That's according to a study in the UK that looked at 16,000 people and found those with certain allergy conditions and asthma had a 38% lower risk of COVID infection. New research suggests stuttering is linked to the process of initiating speech rather than a psychological problem that stems from lack of effort or trauma. Doctors point out people often speak words fluently later in a sentence, even if the same words caused stuttering at the beginning of the sentence. They believe this finding will help develop targeted drugs and technical treatments. And women with coronavirus are more likely to have complications with pregnancy and birth. Researchers in France found women with COVID-19 had a higher frequency of ICU admission, death, gestational hypertension, and premature birth. They say the finding reinforces the need to get the COVID-19 vaccine. That's a look at some of the day's top health stories. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Sorry, Fido. There's a new crop of pet names that's making the rounds this year. Rover.com, which they may have to change that name too, released its annual report on the most popular pet names. This year, while the usual names like Max, Bella, Oliver, and Luna remained favorites for dog and cat owners, choosing pandemic-inspired names is also on the rise. According to Rover, the use of Fauci for man's best friend jumped 270% this year, while COVID, I'm sorry, that's a pet name, that's a terrible pet name. It rose by 35%. Please tell me somebody's naming their dog CDC. I mean, come on now. Pet owners were also inspired by working from home and technology and content on streaming services. Rover saw a significant increase in animals, my God, named Zoom, Siri, and Google, and Grogu from Disney Plus's The Mandalorian was the #1 trending dog name in the country.
What has the pandemic done to us all? It's just
don't know.
stop being creative.
Can I just name my pet Michael?
Absolutely.
I mean, okay, you know, in all honesty, I laugh. I've said this before. People at home should know. I'm a big Star Trek fan, right?
Huh?
I was like 5 years old, and we had this little kitten, and it got out of our yard and was hit by a car up on 20th Street in Joplin, and it died.
Thank you for letting us put the good in your morning, folks.
Wait, well, hold on. There's good in the morning coming, trust me. So, you know, I was devastated by this at 5 years old. So my parents went out and we found another Siamese kitten. And because I was a big Star Trek fan and I made the connection of the pointed ears on a cat to the character Spock, we named this cat Spock, and it lived almost 20 years. And he got to be a heifer of a cat, but he was a jerk. He was very nice, but he could be a jerk. But that's why you loved him. And it was just perfect to call him Spock. So, I mean, I guess I can't say anything. I named a gerbil Xavier once, so.
You have the best family stories. There's never a dull moment in the Warner household. There
was not, and I think it's why I'm the odd way I am today, and I apologize to those who know me.
Oh, no, that's why
I've had to deal with it.
That's why we love you. I was really hoping you wanted to name your dog Michael, but you were going to call it Slip.
I could call it Slip.
Hey, poor dog gets
Let's slip the
dog
dogs
gets
of
so
war.
Confused.
I am confused.
And then when you get mad at the dog, you just yell Michael Holden. And me and the dog will both be like, what? What we do? We're going to talk a little bit about our record highs here next couple of days. We're not quite going to get there today. Back to 1982, Joplin Regional Airport recorded a 75. But as far as the second and the third, we get up to about 73, 74. We're going to be able to threaten it. 50 degrees is where we stand right now over 7th and Rangeline. So we've seen a little bit of a dip here, whether it be that Joplin, Carthage, even Miami line. So kind of a long 44. It's gone down just a couple degrees. It kind of stabilized out to the northwest in the mid to high 30s and 50s for the most part. It's a great start considering it's the first day of September or December. Now, as the winds slowly begin to let up off the north, that's when we'll see everybody in the northwestern quadrant begin to warm up. This is 66 sunny skies today, but look at this, Thursday and Friday. Those are the ones we're going to be watching for possible record highs. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
There's casino.
It was the trip of a lifetime for a group of white rhinos as they were relocated to a new home in Rwanda. Conservationists hope the move will give the animals the chance to replenish their struggling population away from the deadly threat of poaching. But as Zane Asher reports, the move wasn't a simple one.
40 hours and some 3,400 kilometers. 30 white rhinos complete a long journey from South Africa to a new home in Rwanda. It's the largest single transfer of the species and a move to replenish the white rhino's struggling population, one largely devastated by poaching since the 1970s. The journey was no easy feat. White rhinos are one of the largest land mammal species and can weigh up to 2 tons. Following months of preparation, the partially sedated rhinos were transferred from South Africa's Phinda Private Game Reserve. They boarded a Boeing 747 to Rwanda to their final destination, Akagera National Park, a space that the staff of African Parks believes will provide a safe haven for the threatened species.
White rhinos are being persecuted on the continent. Their numbers, they are not stable. They're on a knife edge. They could go either way. If something happened to Kenya or to South Africa on the scene of white rhinos, that is where the majority of white rhinos are. then white rhinos are really on the brink of extinction. So it makes no better sense than to bring them into safe areas we know where they would thrive.
Gruner says the animals will be safer here than they were in South Africa, where he says 3 rhinos daily are killed by poachers.
We brought black rhinos here in 2017. They are thriving. We brought the lions here. They are thriving. We've proven as the management of the park, but also with the government collaboration, that it's a safe, progressive place and that we can ensure their security.
Poaching remains the primary threat to these animals, targeted for their horns. There are only about 20,000 southern white rhinos remaining, considered near threatened, and only 2 females of another subspecies, the northern white rhino, on the brink of extinction. The 30 white rhinos are welcome additions to the park, which has seen a decline in tourism during the COVID-19 pandemic. White rhinos enjoy grazing in open spaces, so visiting tourists can expect to get a good look.
The
white rhinos are going to be seen in the open spaces by almost all the tourists, so it's going to be something that will really help a lot on the tourism side.
Initially placed in 2 large enclosures, authorities say the rhinos will soon be able to roam the expansive park, with plenty of room to grow.
We're going to be right back with today's 4-State Hero. It's time to honor today's 4-State Hero. Private First Class Donald Troxel served in the United States Army. He was stationed in Germany from 1953 to 55. A native of Iola, we thank you, Donald Troxel, today's 4-State Hero. Well, you might think you've had a little too much eggnog when the Christmas tree starts talking to you. That's what Woody does in Canada, and it's creeping out some people and delighting others. Jeannie Moose has this holiday story.
It's a talking Christmas tree that's being talked about.
I'm so glad to be back home.
Talked about by everyone from little kids.
I never talked to one before.
To Jimmy Fallon.
Some people think it's cute while others think it's a little creepy. Now we know what the Christmas episode of Squid Game will look like.
After a 15-year hiatus, Woody the Talking Tree is back at the Micmac Mall in Nova Scotia, Canada, depicted as the Nightmare Before Christmas by one cartoonist. Kill it with fire, someone tweeted. Woody's very own Twitter account describes him as a chatty coniferous with a penchant for small talk in malls, but others see Woody as Tammy Faye reincarnated. There's something about kids talking to Woody reminiscent of Dorothy talking to the Wizard of Oz.
Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz.
Woody got a makeover from this to this after an absence of 15 years, the mall manager says.
Woody was in the North Pole.
Actually, the mall changed management. Now Woody is inspiring kitty sketches, embroidery, tree ornaments, even fingernail art. But if the eyes are the windows to this Christmas tree's soul, Woody has problems.
He's having a lazy eye.
So lazy it had to be propped open with a pole at one point. Best not to see the behind-the-scenes magic.
I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
Woody is the Wizard of Oz. Easy to needle. Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
I don't even know what to say. That one drawing, that kid looked like he was being killed by the tree. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. Let us know how you feel. It's kind of interesting. Well, we got another half hour of news and weather that does not involve talking trees just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Michael Hayslip sitting down with for an exclusive interview at the K-State Extension District to talk about an upcoming deer processing workshop. And an Alabama Walmart accuses a nurse of shoplifting. She takes the store to court over the charges. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It is currently 7:29. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's top stories. Pitt State is giving social work students a new opportunity to advance their education. PSU is now offering a master's degree in social work through a partnership with the University of Kansas. Students in the first group are already pursuing the new degree option.
So this allows students to stay in the area, to get their degree and stay here. It also, since we have the 2-year program where they're able to do the first year at PSU, our tuition is great at PSU, so it's an affordable way.
In the first year of the program, students take courses in PSU's social work program to earn a foundation graduate certificate. Then they take a year of clinically focused classes taught by KU faculty. Some area organizations used this Giving Tuesday as a fundraising opportunity to help those in need. That included Connect to Culture in Joplin. Facebook was matching donations made to the arts organization through the platform. C2C also says an anonymous donors agreed to match up to $5,000 in donations.
You know, sometimes people aren't thinking about showing their appreciation for different organizations, and this is what the day is all about. It's about showing appreciation for Connect to Culture, what it provides the Joplin area, how it helps it grow, and I just hope that they'll consider, you know, donating $5, $10. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge amount of money.
Officials say the funds raised yesterday will help keep things running through the year. The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is offering a new incentive to folks who give blood. Through the month of December, if you give blood at any Community Blood Center of the Ozarks blood drive, you'll be entered to win either a $1,000 gas card or a $1,000 travel voucher. In addition to the weekly drawing, all donors will receive a maroon long-sleeved t-shirt. Home sellers spread the love to a home away from home. Reese Nichols Realtors from Joplin and Neosho yesterday presented a $5,300 check for the Ronald McDonald House of the Four States. It's part of the Gold Key project launched in Kansas City last year. Participating agents agreed to donate $100 for every closing during the months of April through October. 5 Ronald McDonald houses benefit.
Our goal this year for 2021 was a $100,000 goal to donate to those 5 Ronald McDonald houses, and we wound up with just shy of $236,000 between April 1st through October 31st of this year.
Ronald McDonald House provides shelter and resources for families of children in the hospital. Well, it was such a hit last year that Joplin Parks and Rec Department is doing it again. What is it? It's the Holiday Tree Trail, and it's a series of decorated trees from area businesses and organizations placed along a portion of the trail at Mercy Park. The city lit the trees last night at a special event that included performances by Karen's Dance Studio, hot cocoa, cookies, and even a visit by Santa.
I love all of the trees. These businesses and organizations have worked so hard to get these trees out here and decorated, and they've just done a fantastic job in helping us make this event happen.
Guests who walk the trail can vote for their favorite tree through December 22nd, when winners will receive prizes. The trees will be on display through the end of the month. Talk about taking love to new heights. Check out this breathtaking view from 1,200 feet above the streets of New York City. It's a view this couple will never forget for lots of reasons. A man named Shane proposed to his partner Tanya during City Climb, an aerial skyscraping adventure in New York. Looks like she said yes from what we can tell. The others on the adventure erupted in applause for the happy couple. They climbed above Edge, which is the highest outdoor sky deck in the Western Hemisphere. Once they got to the 100th floor of the building, they had a chance to enjoy the 360 views of 30 Hudson Yards and enjoy a champagne toast in the sky.
Can you imagine if she would have said no? That would have been the longest trip of that dude's life, walking back down.
Yeah, we would have had a totally different story here, and
Yeah.
that's way too high for me. Like, I'm sure the view is cool. I'm sure it's really neat. That's great. That's
I'd be okay
way
with the
too
harness.
high.
I'd be okay with that.
See,
I don't know how close to the edge I'd get.
I couldn't do it. And, you know, I've always wondered, because I'm not kidding. I am terrified of heights. Like, it freezes me. And I've wondered, in these taller buildings, I've never been to a city much bigger than around here. So I wonder how it would be for me to go up into like the observation deck of what used to be the Sears Tower in Chicago and look out. Like, is my mind going to freak out and think that I could fall, or is it going to know that I can't go through this?
I had the opportunity to go to the Rainbow Room and the old Twin Towers, and you get up there and all of a sudden you realize the building and you are swaying. That's when I was like, I think I've been through the window good enough. I'm good.
Yeah, nope, that's too much.
Yes.
If I can feel that building swaying, I am running down the fire stairs.
As soon as you get your bearings and you notice, you're like, why is everything rocking back and forth? Oh my God, the building's moving.
I'm getting out. I'm done with this.
We are off to a beautiful, beautiful start here for the month of December in the 4 states. 50 degrees is where we hang over Joplin. We're getting a little drop in our temperatures here just post sunrise, but still certainly not too bad. You have to remember, average low this time of year should be about the freezing mark, and we've been able to escape that even with the cooler temperatures that are up to the northwest and then down here to the south where the wind is consistently come in from the south-southwest. That's why that's been able to maintain about 50 degrees all morning long. We did have a little light rain that rolled through this morning. If you walk outside and be like, whoa, why do we got some sprinkles on the windshield? That's all it amounted to. Started at about 4 a.m., was out of here by the time we even got to sunrise. Nationally speaking, this system that's going to work its way to the east, it's not going to affect us, and here's why. Because even though we got some low pressure hanging out to the west of us, that's a warm front right there, and that's going to bring us abnormal temperatures for the beginning of December, to the point where on Thursday and Friday we're going to be talking about the possibility of breaking some record highs. Finally, some much needed rain coming on Saturday and Sunday's front bringing us cooler temperatures for the beginning of next week. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, and indeed it is a Wildcat Wednesday, and I understand this segment may not be for everybody. Some people, may not be into the whole hunting aspect of it, but two people that are is going to be number one, me, and number two, David Scrons of the K-State Extension Office. So David, thank you so much for joining us. She happens to be the Ag and Natural Resource Agent for our area. And you have a great workshop coming up that's on deer processing. We are in the midst of a prime hunting season right now, especially for archery. As a matter of fact, my father-in-law just has one hanging in a tree right now. What are we going to take out of this workshop that's coming up?
Yeah, so as most folks that are avid hunters know, archery season for deer has been open, but today is the first day of rifle season for deer. So on Friday, we will be having a deer processing workshop. Dr. Drew Ricketts is the K-State Wildlife Specialist for Extension, and he will be coming down to do a demonstration on how to field dress a deer.
Now, when you say demonstration, because so when I think workshop, I'm like, how many PowerPoint slides are we gonna see? But I understand you've got something a little special here.
Yeah, so instead of having a PowerPoint slide type of workshop, which I know can be not as interesting for everyone, Drew will actually be doing a live demonstration on how to field dress a deer from start to finish. So hopefully after this workshop, folks can feel more comfortable going out and field dressing a deer by themselves.
Now, David, this is great for all ages. Anybody who ever has a question about it, and maybe even if you're an experienced hunter, you pick up some tips along the way. But what does this mean for our younger hunters? The way the Kansas State Research and Extension Office is reaching out and showing them, hey kiddos, this is how it's done.
Yeah, like you said, this is open to all ages, and it would be a great opportunity for youth of any age. Maybe this is their first year going deer hunting, to come and learn how to field dress a deer and ask Drew any questions that they may have. And for more experienced hunters, along with Drew Lane Egger from the Meat Science Department on campus will also be coming down. So if you have any questions on how to get a specific cut of meat from the deer after it's been field dressed, Lane will be able to help answer those questions and show folks how to get a specific cut of meat that they're looking for if they don't want to take that deer to a local processor and they want to do all of the processing themselves.
Can you give us a lowdown on the workshop? How do we sign up? Where do we go?
The workshop will be on Friday at 6:30 in the evening at the Labette County Fairgrounds in Oswego, Kansas. It is free to attend, but we do ask that folks RSVP just so we have a head count to know how many people to expect. And to RSVP, you can call our Altamont office. That number is 620-784-5337. And I also want to remind everyone that this workshop will be held outside. So please remember to dress warm.
It's, you know what, I looked at it because I knew this was coming up. It's not going to be too bad. We'll probably go about mid-50s, even overnight. So we're not looking too bad at all.
That's great. I'm glad the weather's working out for us.
David, you know what I did not do, and I owe you a sincere apology. I did not thank you for joining us this early in the morning, and I apologize for that. It's been so long since I've seen you. I wanted to jump into the interview.
Yeah.
David Strons of the Kansas State Extension Office here on a Wildcat Wednesday. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, David, we will catch up with you later, and we'll have more KOAM morning news for you right after this.
A woman takes on Walmart in court and wins. At the center of the case, shoplifting accusations that led to a $2.1 million verdict. Bill Reales followed the case for months and explains why this case is now getting nationwide attention.
Leslie Nurse says she was at the self-checkout at the Sims Walmart with her husband and 3 kids, fighting a malfunctioning scanner, even getting help from a Walmart associate. After she thought she'd finished and paid, she was stopped by an asset protection manager.
I remember going in that little room and I was like, this will be resolved. This was an accident. This wasn't on purpose.
She was eventually charged with stealing $48 worth of groceries, 11 items in all, including Christmas lights, a loaf of bread, and Cap and Crunch cereal. She was eventually arrested, mugshot taken, but the criminal charge was eventually dropped when no one from Walmart showed up to court. By then, she said, the damage to her reputation had already been done, her ability to make a living stifled by the criminal charge. What was worse, she continued to receive demand letters from a Walmart-affiliated law firm offering to drop the matter if she paid them $200.
At first you think, oh, well, I'll pay it and then it'll all go away. But then I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. Why would I pay for something that I didn't do?
But it turns out many people do. During testimony in the lawsuit she filed against the company, an expert testified Walmart routinely uses what are known as civil recovery laws in many states to get people they've accused of shoplifting to pay up. University of Nebraska assistant law professor Ryan Sullivan, who has studied the practice, testified that in a 2-year period, Walmart charged some 1.4 million people across the country with criminal theft of property and ended up collecting more than $300 million through their civil demand letters in the same period. The lawsuit Nurse filed against Walmart charged the company with abusive process, meaning the company used the criminal charges to bolster their chances of civil recovery.
Exactly, that they prosecute her solely for the purpose of getting what they call civil recovery on money.
To add insult to injury, Walmart never produced a video that would have been recorded at the self-checkout area that would have proved Nurse shoplifted or didn't.
It would have shown the truth, and that they didn't want the truth to be shown.
At the end of this lawsuit, filed in 2018 and delayed by the COVID pandemic, a unanimous jury found for Nurse and awarded her $2.1 million in punitive damages.
I hope it makes a difference. I don't want anybody else to have to go through this again.
Defense attorneys declined to comment on the verdict. Walmart says it discontinued the civil recovery program several years ago. Company spokesperson released a statement that reads in part, quote, "We continue to believe our associates acted appropriately. We don't believe the verdict is supported by the evidence." We're going to be right back with more after this, but here is a look first at the market prices for the opening bell.
10 minutes to the top of the hour on this 1st of December. Kind of stabilized over 7th and Range Line, been at 50 degrees now for some time. Pressure on the rise. Earlier, that thing was falling as we picked up some sprinkles, but right now we can begin our warm-up. Already seeing the bump, getting up close to 40 there in the northwestern portion, and we've been able to escape anything close to freezing. But yeah, we've even fallen there into the high 40s for southwest Missouri, a result of some shifting winds. But we got no worries because everything is moved out to our east right now. So no more sprinkles. We're just going to sit back and enjoy a December 1 full of sunshine, and then a December 2 and 3 on Thursday and Friday that are going to be full of warmth, as we're going to be throwing up 70s on the board, and then a little bit of rain headed our way, much needed rain over the weekend. Supreme Court will today hear arguments in a case that could potentially dismantle the landmark Roe v. Wade abortion ruling. Those arguments will focus on whether the state of Mississippi can ban the procedure after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Laura Podesta explains.
The future of abortion rights in America lies in the hands of the 9 Supreme Court justices. Today, they'll begin proceedings to determine if the state of Mississippi can make it illegal to get an abortion after more than 15 weeks of pregnancy. Governor Tate Reeves notes it's a decision that could make it easier for other states to follow suit.
This is a monumental opportunity for the pro-life movement.
But some who are pro-abortion rights say if the Supreme Court rules in favor of Mississippi's ban, partially or fully overturning the landmark abortion case Roe v. Wade, women would be the most hurt.
It's unfair for women across the nation because this will strip us of those 14th Amendment protections, and that will make us second-class citizens, basically unable to partake in society on an equal basis.
The Supreme Court has not yet ruled on the Texas abortion law, which circumvents Roe v. Wade by allowing private citizens, not state officials, to sue anyone who aids or abets an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
And it's the right to life, which is exactly why I signed that law, to ensure that any baby with a heartbeat will be saved from the ravages of abortion in Texas.
If the High Court rules in Mississippi's favor, it could immediately have an impact throughout the U.S. because state governments could suddenly have the ability to begin crafting and enforcing their own individual laws on abortion access. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
With 3 new conservative justices, all appointed by former President Trump, some anti-abortion rights advocates see this case as their best chance to overturn Roe v. Wade. At least 21 conservative-leaning states have already laws passed that could restrict or ban abortions if Roe is reversed. More liberal states are taking steps to protect access to abortion. It could take 4 to 6 months for the Supreme Court to ultimately make its decision. We'll be back and wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. A 15-year-old boy is in custody following a school shooting in Michigan that left 3 students dead on Tuesday. 7 other students were wounded, along with an Oxford high school teacher. Investigators said the gun was purchased by the suspect's father last week. An FDA advisory panel has voted to endorse a new pill for treating COVID-19. 13-10 decision came as some states struggle with rising numbers of new cases. However, the newly discovered Omicron variant has yet to be detected in the U.S. Today, the Supreme Court will hear arguments concerning a Mississippi law that bans abortions beyond 15 weeks of pregnancy. It could set the stage for the court to overturn the precedent set by Roe v. Wade, its landmark 1973 decision that guaranteed a woman's right to end a pregnancy. Now, let's check it with Michael, check that forecast.
Well, you're going to need a jacket, but remember, it's December now. That's perfectly normal. By the time you get to this afternoon, you'd probably forget even to bring the jacket inside because we're going to be up into the mid-60s today. And then as we get into the 7-day forecast, we're looking at 70s for Thursday and Friday. Chris, how many times do we have the kids ask if they can wear shorts to school? Well, that's about what we're going to run into here by the end of the work week.
Oh, and how many times do they get to ask that in December?
If they were up to the kids, you never know about that.
That's true. That's very true. They'll do whatever they want.
Right.
Hey, take a look at this. Runaway horse. There he is. He was galloping down Route 140, Massachusetts on Tuesday morning. One witness says the horse, reportedly named Max, seemed calm and drivers slowed down as he passed. Troopers hoofed it to the area quickly. They were able to rein Max in with a leash. He is now back home safe with his owners. It's unclear how Max got into the highway in the first place.
So it appears that everybody in this Massachusetts town knows Max, because they're like, oh, if they knew his name, they're like, oh, it's Max.
It's just Max.
It's just Max.
It's just him. He's just taking a trip down the highway. Must be off to see his cousins.
Call Jim and Carol. Tell them Max is running down the highway again.
That's the thing. People are so calm. I'd freak out if I saw a horse down the highway. I'd be like, oh, God. It'd be like if a deer ran out in front of you. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. Horses, yeah. He's pretty good size. Carrie's right. It'd be worse.
It's Max.
I forget. Max follows the traffic laws.
It's just Max. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We will be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.